Congressman Michael McCaul. He's joining us now, ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Great to have you here, sir, as we await the president there at NATO headquarters in Brussels. It's just after 8 p.m. local time there. Talk to us about your expectations for the president meeting with world leaders. Obviously, highly anticipated meeting with Vladimir Putin happening on Wednesday. Your expectations for the week?
You know, I think I was pleased to see they focused a lot on China, but nothing really concrete came out of that. In fact, the only thing I saw concrete was a recommendation that the WHO, World Health Organization, investigate once again the lab in Wuhan, which we now believe is a source of COVID-19. I don't think this investigation can be done properly with the WHO, who's headed up by Director General Tedros, who's a hand-picked puppet of President Xi, and has demonstrated his ability over the last year and a half to cover everything up and never warn the public about a pandemic. And the cover-up was massive, Sandra, and many details there, but a massive cover-up. I don't trust them to be responsible for this important investigation.
Hey, Congressman, it's John Roberts here. Thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it. On the subject of Russia, you said that it is time for the United States and the Biden administration to hit back against these bad actors who are hacking into some of our critical infrastructure, even though it's privately owned. What do you believe the United States needs to do? What kind of tools could it employ to try to exact some damage against these people?
Well, remember, several of these attacks were nation-state sponsored by Russia, the Russian Federation itself.
Do we have proof of that?
Of course. The SolarWinds attack, the USAID attack.
Oh, I thought you meant the latest ones.
Yes. And so anytime you have a nation-state attack, I think our nation should respond in kind. I think they've gotten away with this for way too long. Colonial Pipeline was a Russian organized mafia, which I believe is integrated with the oligarchs, and Putin himself probably has tacit approval of that. So I hope the president can bring this up with Putin, that if you can't stop these attacks, we're going to have to start responding. Once we do the attribution to find out where the attacks are coming from, that we are going to hit you back in kind, because they've been getting away with this for way too long.
Congressman, assess the threat that they pose to us today, considering the most recent attacks, not state-sponsored, but obviously Russian groups that we know of. We saw them hit the food sector. We saw them hit the energy sector. We know we're vulnerable in so many other areas. So what would you say the level is of that threat today?
Oh, it's very high, and we're hit every day with ransomware attacks in the hundreds this year, billions of dollars. It's just Colonial Pipeline was a very high-profile attack because it was a pipeline from New York to Houston. And I would say the irony here is that President Biden issued a national interest waiver to allow the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, Putin's pipeline I call it, to actually be built into Europe to make Europe dependent on Russian energy, while at the same time Russia hits the Colonial Pipeline and President Biden shuts down the Keystone Pipeline. To me, this is pipeline hypocrisy at its worst.
Congressman, we do know that on Wednesday, President Biden is going to hold a solo news conference, unlike the one that President Trump held alongside Vladimir Putin in the last U.S.-Russia summit in Helsinki. There are some people who say that Biden is right to not give Putin an elevated platform and be on the same stage as him, but others are suggesting that having a dual press conference with Putin would give Biden the opportunity to publicly be very tough with the Russian leader. Where do you come down on that?
I agree. It would give him an opportunity to come out. You know, he's said a lot of things, but we haven't seen a lot of action. And I think that those comments would be very powerful if he said it directly to Mr. Putin. I think he's running weak on the issue. He's not going into this summit and this particular meeting with Putin from a position of strength, but rather of weakness, because he's already given him so many concessions, whether it be Nord Stream 2 to New START, to his position in the Ukraine, to sanctions. Pretty much the price of admission on this ticket was very high, and I don't think the United States got a lot out of it.